You enter a realm of spirit, of sight and sound and mind. Your radio is a cosmic doorway, and your psyche begins to spark. When you tune in to Gary Anderson and Night Dreams After Dark.
From our compound, from the West Coast to the East Coast to worldwide, both on the internet and terrestrial radio, you're listening to Gary Anderson on Night Dreams Talk Radio, After Dark.
And it is After Dark. We got two great guests. We got Ronald Meyer and Alan, who's made a documentary on Bigfoot, and Ronald has wrote a book on Bigfoot. Anyway, guys, are you still there?
We're here.
You got James wants to ask you a couple questions. James, go ahead and ask the questions.
Okay. Do you think, depending on the area of the country, you think there's different types of Bigfoot depending on the area of the country?
So in a way, yes. But what the opinion, what we're kind of moving towards is that multiple paranormal phenomena, if you like that, are all kind of connected in a way. That orbs, UFO, unexplained aerial phenomena, that they're all sort of one thing, and that they all show up pretty much everywhere. Bigfoot is more popular, or more sightings, contact in wooded areas. You don't see them in downtown major cities, but you'll see orbs and strange lights in the sky, and for example, in Phoenix and urban areas. And sometimes you see them together. So I think there are, and the thing we're beginning to find out is that there are these things called hotspots, paranormal hotspots, where multiple paranormal phenomena are showing up at the same time. And by I mean at the same time is that at one point you may have a Bigfoot tracks, or they're playing games with you. Another night you'll see unexplained aerial phenomena. Another time you'll record, what are those recordings again?
EVPs.
EVPs, and you'll get strange voices that sound like ghosts. We investigated a couple places in the movie making where this is definitely happening, and we were able to capture some of it. Does that help?
Yeah, okay. Another question I have, in your research, have you found a coalition between people that have had sightings or experiences with Bigfoot? They also have maybe had experiences with abduction or with UFOs.
Absolutely. It's without a doubt. Without a doubt. And maybe not so much abductions, but having unusual, unexplained aerial phenomena, which could vary from, the night sky lighting up to the classic strange lights that move around, crafts that are unexplained and move very fast, to sights of orbs. I mean, we went to one place and they photographed a lot of orbs around us, although I had no real direct experience of them, but when we looked at the photographs, there they were. So yeah, this is becoming more the norm, that there's something about a place, perhaps it's a portal. The one place we went to in Oregon where all these things were occurring regularly to rather ordinary people, including voices from the dead, strange voices that are sort of like the Sierra Sounds that sound like Bigfoot, or weird languages. Yeah, go ahead, Alan.
Yeah, we heard some recordings in Oregon in an area where they believe they have a portal next to kind of a shed, a large garage area, and they believe that some sort of creature like Bigfoot is coming in and out through that portal. And they played several audio clips that sounded like two women talking foreign language, kind of the samurai chatter type sound. And there's one recording that they played for us that it sounded like a woman saying the same unintelligible word over and over and over again. And when I got back home from filming, back to the house here in the Colorado area, Denver, Colorado area, that night I went to bed, and my wife woke me up at 3 a.m, and she said, "I just heard these voices in the house that sounded like a woman repeating a word over and over and over again." And I said, wait, what are you talking about? Because she wasn't there in Oregon to hear those tapes. So I was able to play the recording for her, and I said, "Did it sound like this?" And she said, "That's exactly what it sounded like." So we were hearing the same voices in my own house after having an encounter out on the West Coast.
Wow, that would raise the hair on your neck. One more question: the Patterson-Gimlin film. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I've met Bob Gimlin many times, and I've heard him tell the story in person, and I believe him. I think he believes he filmed a Bigfoot creature, and I don't, I'm not going to dispute that. The evidence is there, I think, to show that it could be a Bigfoot. I know Ron doesn't believe so much in the flesh and blood. I think it's possible it could still be flesh and blood and have these kind of paranormal, attributes. We do see footprints and collect hair samples and have all these other kinds of, real life experiences. But we also, I recently found earlier this year doing a Bigfoot expedition. I had what I believe was an encounter with a Bigfoot. A rock was thrown over my head in my direction and landed to my right, and I looked down at the ground to see it. And as soon as I did, I heard what sounded like two rock clacks, really loud, over to my left from where the rock came from. So when I turned my head around, I had a headlamp on, and the headlamp illuminated kind of the tree branches, but not so much the darkness in between them. And something kind of growled / hissed at me, and then I heard it kind of walk off, and I called one of the other people I was with over who had a thermal, and we could see bipedal footprints, the heat signature on the leaves, and they just kind of disappeared. They went back, 30 feet and disappeared. So,
yeah, and we on our land, one of the reasons we are playing around up there is that there were these footprints that went to one spot and then disappeared. This was in the snow.
Yep.
And there was it wasn't like they could have walked backwards and walked out again. They just stopped. And I think you chased footprints as well.
Yeah, I followed the trackway the other way through the snow, and kind of up the side of the mountain. I had to climb a little bit. It was not, necessarily an easy climb when I got to the top, and they stopped at the base of a 5-inch diameter sapling, and there were no tracks anywhere else. And I look up in the sapling, which was probably only 10 feet tall at the most, and obviously there wasn't anything there. So whatever made the tracks seemingly disappeared on both ends.
That's where I think portals come into it. It's a lot of people who I've interviewed, they always say that with Bigfoot around there, they feel like there's like a portal in the area where the creature, like all of a sudden, like you're talking about, they see the creature and then the next minute it's gone. They're trying to trace where it went and it just vanishes. Their footprint stops. So maybe they're going in and out of different dimensions or something is strange. I just am thinking about my encounter up in the Canadian Rockies. Whatever it was, it showed aggression all the way to we got to the car, even to the point where it damaged the car. But I will tell you this, the smell of it was so strong that it literally burnt my throat. That's how pungent it was. And this is like the first week of June. I remember that much. And there was still snow up there off the side of the roads and in certain areas. It was still chilly. It wasn't warm. And for that smell to be so pungent, like 25, 30 feet away, it took driving maybe a few miles with the windows down to air the car out. That's how bad it was.
Yeah, that seems to be one of the tricks of Bigfoot that a lot of people have experienced. And why they're doing this is a bit of a mystery, but there seems to be a pattern that these contact experiences are fairly personally designed for whatever reason. That seems to be the overarching pattern that's emerging. We went down to Dulce, New Mexico. Are you familiar with that place?
Yes.
That was one of the earlier places where people found Bigfoot, alien, grays, pretty much orbs. Everything that was paranormal was happening there, at least reported it was happening there, and that there was this alien base in the mountain in the Archuleta Mesa. And you're familiar with that story, kind of?
Yes, I'm very familiar. But why don't you explain it to the listeners a little bit for they understand? Because I'm sure, we're on 20-some radio stations. We're on the internet worldwide. I'm sure a lot of people don't even know, what we're talking about.
Well, back in, most people report to all these contact experiences occurring sometime right after World War II, when a couple significant things happened. One, setting off atomic weapons, and we started the march to artificial intelligence. So if this is aliens messing around with us, they're a non-human form of intelligence, which, by definition is probably the case as well. So one of the earlier places that occurred, there was a crash site nearby in Aztec, and then one guy started getting weird radio signals. He was maybe an odd crackpot, and they were coming from this mountain, and there was a story of a battle between Greys and U.S. forces and aliens, and whether it actually happened, we don't know, but it became one of these hot spots that are in the San Luis Valley, which is that runs down the middle of Colorado into New Mexico between two mountain ranges. And so ever since then, there's been constant reports of these multiplicity of weird phenomena, some of which are black helicopters and military, people that are all geared up for battle, showing up in this place for no reason at all. I mean, there's really nothing there. It's on a Apache reservation that's on relatively poor land, pretty wooded, no signs of civilization to speak of. There's no reason for there to be any military presence there. So we hired a father and son